Russia, the Ukrainian defense forces attacked the Olya seaport. A vessel loaded with Shahed drone components and ammunition is on fire. That day has come, what Trump is negotiating with Putin about in Alaska. In Russia, they have started dividing cannon fodder into categories. The Kremlin is cutting payments for contract soldiers in some regions, while increasing them in others. The Russian elite considers the war in Ukraine a disgrace, but is afraid to say so to Putin. They were fed chicken Kiev and housed in unsuitable conditions. Meanwhile, in Anchorage, Russian propagandists who came to cover the Trump-Putin meeting are whining. Hello, my name is Anastasia Dnipropetrovskaya. Subscribe to this channel, give this video a like, and let's get started. How beautifully Russia was burning last night. Actually, it was already burning in Yanakiv in the evening at strategic sites.
Ooh, I got his ass.
Did you kill him?
Another one is coming.
And this is what the map of Russia looked like, along with the number of drones attacking it. Beautiful, isn't it? And these are already morning shots. Sizran, there was a hit on the oil refinery there. This refinery is one of the largest in the Rosneft system and is key for the Volga region. If it is stopped or seriously damaged, the region will face a fuel shortage and will have to transfer products from other refineries, which will increase logistics costs and put more strain on transport corridors. And here are some pleasant statistics. Ukrainian long-range attacks in just 2025 alone have caused Russia losses amounting to more than 4% of its GDP. About 10% of the attacks were carried out at a distance of more than 1,000 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. This was reported by the General Staff. And for dessert, here's this piece of news. Ukraine's defense forces struck the Olya seaport. This facility is used by the Russian aggressor as an important logistics hub for supplying military goods from Iran. According to available information, the Port Olya 4 vessel, loaded with Shahed components and ammunition from Iran, was hit. We could use more news like this. Do you agree? Yes! Give this video a like. Next, let's talk about the situation at the front. The Russian army has advanced in two areas near the border of the Dnipropetrovsk region. Deep state analysts report that in the Donetsk region, the enemy has made advances near Zeleny Kut, and in the Zaporizhzhia region, the Russians have advanced at the junction with the Donetsk region. Forced evacuation of families with children has also been announced in Drushkivka, as well as in the villages of Andriivka, Varvarivka, Novoandriivka, and Rohanska of the Andriivka community in the Donetsk region. The Russians have also become very active around Kostiantynivka. Right now, as Ukrainian soldiers say, the city is literally being wiped off the face of the earth.
Kostiantynivka and its population are being destroyed by FPV drones and glide bombs. The city's landscape, which just a year ago was a hub for many military personnel, now looks like this. Homes destroyed, civilian cars wrecked by FPV drones, and there are many civilian casualties almost every day. It's hard to come to terms with the fact that soon it will turn into ruins.
Meanwhile, the Institute for the Study of War reports that the Russians failed their rotation in the Sumy region, retreated to the state border, and are now chaotically scattered around Yelizavetovka in the Kursk region. According to American analysts, Ukrainian forces have advanced in northern Sumy region and have liberated Kondratovka and Andreevka north of Sumy. On this occasion, I want to thank our defense forces for their work. And I also want to urge you to support our defenders and to help, as they say, not just with words, but with actions. That day has come. Already tonight, late in the evening, negotiations between Trump and Putin will take place in Alaska. Just a few hours before the meeting, information emerges from the Reuters building, citing a source close to the Kremlin that apparently some terms will indeed be agreed upon today because Trump cannot be refused and the Russian Federation is unable to refuse due to sanctions pressure. By the way, here's how they were preparing to welcome Putin in Alaska. And to be honest, I really like this meeting. The entire road is literally lined with people holding Ukrainian flags. You have to see it to believe it. As for the negotiations themselves, it must be admitted that on the eve, there were plenty of both official statements and insider leaks in the press. And a day before the meeting, Trump gives an interview where once again he makes a flurry of statements. One of them, to put it mildly, is surprising.
Putin would have taken over all of Ukraine if I hadn't been president.
What the hell are you even talking about?
Well, you get the idea. Dear Ukrainian Defense Forces, stand down. Trump has practically done all the work for you. But on a more serious note, the head of the White House also made a statement directly concerning the negotiations with Putin.
If the meeting with Putin goes badly, it will end very quickly. If the meeting goes well, we will achieve peace in the near future.
Another important question was also raised to Trump about a possible agreement with Russia on rare earth minerals.
Rare earth minerals are not important at all. I'm trying to save lives.
The Russians also made their own statement regarding the negotiations.
We never make any predictions in advance. We know that we have arguments, we have a position that is clear and well defined. We will present it.
And briefly, let me remind you that on the eve of the meeting, Trump agreed with Zelensky on 5 points for the negotiations. The main points are no agreements about Ukraine without Ukraine, increasing sanctions pressure on Russia, and that Russia cannot interfere in decisions regarding Ukraine's membership in NATO and the EU. So, is the whole world holding its breath in anticipation of this meeting? Well, that's obvious. What do you think? Will they actually reach an agreement? And most importantly, what will they agree on? The Russian elite considers the war in Ukraine a disgrace, but they are afraid to tell Putin about it. The Washington Post, citing sources closely connected to the Kremlin, reports that most officials in Moscow want everything to return to the way it was before. And the meeting between Trump and Putin in Anchorage was intended to reassure the Russian elite and might even become a real chance to put an end to all this. Another source for the publication stated that most Kremlin officials are afraid to show their true position. Everyone is afraid of Putin. People don't want to talk about compromises because they all need to show that they are patriots. He added that he does not expect any major results from the Trump-Putin meeting in Alaska. They will either have to issue an ultimatum to Ukraine or leave having achieved virtually nothing. According to Russian analysts, Putin is confident in Russia's imminent victory on the battlefield and is not ready to make compromises, despite heavy losses. And again, the former Kremlin official, whose name the journalist does not disclose, described Putin as very thick-skinned and stated that he is not concerned about human casualties. Honestly, I never thought I would say something like this, but I agree with this Russian analyst. What do you think? Is Putin in Anchorage to actually negotiate or just to make it look like he's willing to negotiate?
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
Well, my dear friends, here's what I want to tell you. As the saying goes, there are 3 things you can watch forever: fire, water, and Russian propagandists whining. This time, the propaganda is whining because in Anchorage they were put up in inadequate conditions.
Interesting. Well, the conditions here are Spartan. This looks like something from the Red Cross. So everyone gets a little pillow, a towel, and these kinds of partitions. This is where the journalists will sleep the night before the most important summit.
Yes, forgive me, Lord, representatives of Russian state media will be sleeping on cots behind transparent screens. And yes, journalists from the Kremlin pool are already complaining that instead of hotels, they've been put up in a stadium. They're writing that it's the stadium of the local hockey team, which was converted into a hospital during the pandemic. And in addition, due to sanctions, journalists and members of the Russian delegation in Alaska have almost no roaming and can only make calls via Wi-Fi. And yes, one more thing that I personally find funny. Propagandist Semyon wrote that the Russian journalists who flew to Alaska on a special flight were served chicken Kiev on the plane. Listen, the Americans really do have a sense of humor. Ladies and gentlemen, on your way back, serve the propagandists some Lviv sirniki. Starting August 15th, tens of thousands of Ukrainian refugees in the US could be arrested and deported due to the loss of legal protection. The Wall Street Journal itself reports that this will affect Ukrainians who arrived in the country under the Uniting for Ukraine program. This is a temporary legal program created by the Biden administration. It is estimated that about 120,000 Ukrainians who fled the war to the US over the past 2 years will gradually begin to lose their humanitarian protection. We are talking about Ukrainians who arrived in the country through the Unity for Ukraine program. This is a temporary legal mechanism created by the Joe Biden administration. They received a 2-year renewable status, known as humanitarian parole, on the condition that they find a private American sponsor willing to take them in. The Biden administration introduced the program as a fast way to allow Ukrainians to resettle, since the traditional U.S. refugee status process can take years. But as they say, there's a catch. All participants in the program receive temporary status, and it is precisely this that makes them vulnerable if the program ends. Therefore, if the Trump administration does not take appropriate measures, Ukrainian citizens could be arrested and deported. Let us recall that when Trump took office as president, he shut down the program and stopped issuing extensions for people whose work permits were expiring, even though he also stated at the time that he would allow Ukrainians to remain in the US until the end of the war. Incredible accuracy and a new world record for long-distance targeting. A Ukrainian sniper eliminated 2 Russian servicemen from a distance of 4,000 meters. The bullet went through the window behind which the occupiers were hiding.
Come on, soon the sky will already be dirty. Time. Those 2 zucchinis. Got them.
The record-breaking shot was made on August 14, 2025, with the help of artificial intelligence guided by a drone system using a 14.5mm caliber alligator rifle. These are exclusive shots. Location: the defensive line of the cities of Pokrov and Smirnograd, in the area of responsibility of the Donetsk Joint Task Force, where, in particular, the combined sniper unit Ghost is carrying out special missions consisting of 8 sniper platoons within the ground forces units. It is also worth noting that the previous world record also belongs to Ukrainians. In November 2023, a Ukrainian sniper from the SBU unit, 58-year-old Vyacheslav Kowalski, eliminated an occupier in the Kherson region at a distance of 3,800 meters. The shot was made with a multi-caliber sniper rifle of Ukrainian production, the Kherson Slort. The Kremlin is cutting payments for contract soldiers in certain regions while increasing them in others. According to the main intelligence directorate of Ukraine, amid a federal budget deficit and worsening financial problems, one-time payments for those signing contracts with the army have been reduced in several regions at once.
In Bashkiria, payments dropped from 1.6 million rubles to 1 million. In the Yamalo-Nenets Autonomous Okrug, from 3.1 to 1.9 million. In the Belgorod region, payments fell from 3 million to just 800,000. And in the Nizhny Novgorod region, from 3 million to 1.5 million rubles.
But here's what's interesting. While payments are cut in some regions of the Russian Federation, in others these payments are increased.
In Tatarstan, it has risen to 3.1 million. In the Ryazan region, they're promising payouts that are a whole million higher. In Kabardino-Balkaria, the payment was also increased, from 1.5 to 1.8 million rubles.
So now we have the opportunity to observe how a so-called caste system is being formed in Russia, where the lives of Russian Federation citizens are valued differently. Am I surprised? Not in the slightest. The Russian Ministry of Labor has ordered not to hire Azerbaijanis. So, on July 30th, guidelines were sent out to the regions instructing them not to hire Azerbaijanis. The explanation for this is the deteriorating relations between Russia and Azerbaijan. But even that, as they say, is not all. The agency also demanded that by July 15th, lists be sent of Azerbaijanis already employed, including their full names, dates of birth, positions, permit document details, and contact information. Supposedly, this is needed to analyze the situation and prevent risks in the labor market. After that, a bunch of companies reported that they allegedly have no such citizens and do not plan to hire any. However, it's hard to believe this, since public forums have claimed that there are 1.5 million Azerbaijanis living in Russia and have lamented that, unlike Russians, they are united and well organized. It seems more plausible that these people were hastily dismissed from company rosters before the reports were submitted, so that it could be claimed that nothing of the sort had happened. But here, to be fair, we have to admit that this was most likely the case. Well, that's just so typical of Russia. Give this video a like to support what we're doing. Be sure to subscribe to our channel Ukraine Today so you don't miss our upcoming episodes. See you next time.